Protecting our men from domestic violence. A Delhi court said, "It is time now to have laws to protect and restore the dignity of men charged with false rape cases, as everyone is just fighting to protect the honor of women." It also said that the humiliation suffered by men cannot be ignored anymore. What cases do we have to defend the honor of our men? While acquitting a man of charges of raping a woman known to him, Delhi court said that while laws are being made for protection of women, some of whom may misuse them, nobody talks about the dignity and honor of a man. The court opined that there are women who misuse laws that are made for their protection and falsely accuse men to have committed crimes as grave as rape. But nobody talks about the damage that can be caused to the dignity and honor of a man. The potential loss out of all the drudgery undergone by him on the account of false accusations can neither be undone nor compensated. His plight may also continue after his acquittal, as his implication may have caused an uproar in the society. But his acquittal may not even be noticed. Every case at hand is analyzed from a woman's perspective, and only dignity and honor of a woman carry weight in the society. Where is the law to protect a man from such a woman, where he is being persecuted and implicated in false cases? The court also pondered whether a person acquitted of rape charges be considered as a rape survivor. Why do men suffer in silence? To protect children. Just like women, men worry that leaving their spouses will harm their children or prevent them from having access to them. Obtaining custody of children is always challenging for fathers, as is the prospect of raising them alone. Social stigma. Many men feel ashamed at being beaten by a woman or feel that they have failed in their roles as a protector and provider for the family. Fear of cases. The biggest fear in Indian men is being slapped with a dowry harassment case. Not only is it hard to shake off the social stigma that comes with being charged with such an act, but the cases also tend to drag on for years and are always almost in the women's favor. Parental pressure. Even today, most men continue to live with their parents even after getting married. When differences arise, parents generally step in and can sometimes make matters worse with their own demands. Denial. Just as with female domestic violence victims, denying that there is a problem only prolongs the abuse. Men believe that they can help or change the abuser, but change can only happen once the abuser takes full responsibility for her behavior and seeks professional treatment. The Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005 is an act of the Parliament of India brought into force by the government from 26 October 2006. The act provides for the first time in Indian law a definition of domestic violence. This definition being broad and including not only physical violence but also other forms of violence such as emotional, verbal, sexual and economic abuse. It is a civil law meant primarily for the protection orders and not meant to penalize criminally. Men's organizations such as the Save Indian Family Foundation have opposed the law, arguing that it might be used by women during disputes. Renuka Chaudhary, the ex-minister for Women and Child Development, opined that an equal gender law would be ideal. The then President of India, Pratibha Patil, said that women themselves have not been innocent of abusing women. At times, women have played an unsavory, catalytic role in perpetrating violence. The absence of a deterrent to not misuse the law has led to some women misusing the law to protect themselves for harassing the husbands and in-laws. The three fundamental challenges with these laws are: they are overwhelmingly gender biased in favor of women. The potential for misuse is very high, and the definition of domestic violence is too expansive. Given the misuse of these laws, men feared that the same could possibly apply to anti-sexual harassment laws at workplaces. SIF Foundation observed that in 30% of the cases that come to them, there is a rift between the woman and her in-laws, where the woman forces the man to choose between the two, under the threat of slapping Section 498A of the IPC, dowry harassment and domestic violence, on the husband and his family. SIF added that 1.2 lakh women were arrested under the Anti-Dowry Act, but the Ministry of Women and Child Development Minister was not doing anything about it. Are you a wife development or a women development minister? They asked. These laws or any other law did not protect the dignity of men. These are based on the premise that men are physically powerful than women, and they are not subjected to domestic violence or harassment. The Supreme Court has accused the country's women of misusing a law created to protect them from harassment by their husbands and in-laws. It ruled the Dowry Act was now being used as weapons by disgruntled wives. In some cases, bedridden grandfathers and grandmothers of the husbands, their sisters living abroad for decades, are arrested. The order noted. According to the National Crime Records Bureau statistics, nearly 200,000 people, including 47,951 women, were arrested in regard to dowry offences in 2012, but only 15% of the accused were convicted. Data released by the NCRB has revealed that out of the 131,666 suicides in the country in 2014, 89,129 were by men and 42,537 by women. Suicides are one area which exhibits the social trauma and mental status of men. This data illustrates the vulnerable situation men are in the present scenario. Every 5.84 minutes on an average, a man commits suicide in India. Family disputes are the single largest reason for male suicides. Legal experts opined that when a person who has not committed any crime begins to fear punishment under the provisions of a law, it is not a law anymore. It is state-sponsored legal terrorism. How is the world poised in gender-neutral laws? According to a report on sexual harassment at the workplace by the United Nations Economic Commission of Europe, around 25 countries in and around Europe and Asia have policies for sexual harassment that are gender-neutral. The US and most countries in ASEAN region also have gender-neutral laws. Even neighboring Pakistan has gender-neutral sexual harassment policies. Today, along with men, many women have serious anger management issues. They also seem to bring the stress of the workplace to the home. Sometimes, inability of the husband to meet monetary demands of wife also leads to abuse and violence. As there is a lot of social stigma towards men abused by women, male victims of domestic violence are ridiculed and considered as unmanly. Such thinking is chauvinistic and it is harmful, as it could possibly lead to suicides or mental problems. Among many other efforts by different governments and non-government organizations, SIF Foundation, an organization working on men's rights, has now approached MPs to submit a private member bill in the parliament to start the steps towards enacting a law for protection of men from domestic violence. It is long overdue.